Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Pink Hugs 1, and as you can see from the title, this is gonna be a video about how to open an online store or boutique, or whatever you would like to call it. How to get started, some basic tips and tricks of the trade. This video was actually requested by one of my favorite people to watch on YouTube, one and only Paris. What's up, boo? I'm going to link his channel below in the description bar. Please go check him out. He is so awesome. I don't remember how I discovered his channel, but when I did, I watched every last one of his videos. He's very entertaining. He's so cute and very fashionable. Okay, so let's get right into it because I do have a lot to cover. So I'm going to try to make it as quickly and painless as possible. Okay, so as most of you know, I do own my own company, and I do have an actual online store. Now, I've had my own business for a total of about 14 years, but I didn't always have an online store. I used to sell most of my stuff, you know, locally to friends, to my mother's friends, to friends of friends, and slowly but surely my company grew and grew and grew, and I'd say about 5 years ago I started a website, and when I first started it was horrible. Like, I wasn't impressed with, you know, the way my store looked, but as time went on, I did more research and I spent a little bit more money to get exactly what I wanted, and now I am satisfied with the website that I have today. So I'm just going to try to save you guys some of the grief that I had to go to when I started my online company. And Paris, I hope this helps you, and I'm looking forward to your new store. Okay guys, so let me get right into it. Starting your own online store slash boutique, it can be very difficult or it can be very fun and easy. It all depends on you and what your preferences are. So I want to get right into it, giving you guys some tips and advice. And these are just my experiences, my thoughts, and what I went through, and what I think was the best ways to start a store online. Alright, first thing I would definitely say is you need to know exactly what you want to do before you start doing it. You have to have a plan, you know. So if you are thinking about starting an online store, do not just jump into it. You know, get a pen, a pad, and start jotting down things that you want from your website, things that you may want to see, how you want it to look, ideas, things like that. You really need to start brainstorming and start researching before you just go online and pay somebody to, you know, host your site or something to that effect. Start brainstorming and know what you want. I wasted so much money, and I've said this before when I was talking a little bit about my company. I wasted so much money by not knowing exactly what I wanted, and not mapping out everything that I wanted to do for my site. And you can save yourself a lot of headaches, and most importantly, time and money, which at the end of the day is the bottom line. So what do? So first off, guys, start off knowing exactly what you want to sell on your site. This is like a tip that I tell a lot of people when starting a business, an online business especially. You have to know what you want to do, what you want to sell, what do you want to bring to the world. Okay, so that's very important. And then once you get that, you have to start preparing your inventory, which is another mistake I made when first started my online store. I had more handmade items than you know, manufactured stuff at the time, and all of my stuff sold out really quickly. I didn't have a huge inventory, and demand was high and supply was low. So I would suggest whatever you're going to be selling, to build your inventory before you actually even open up your store. Have product on hand. Even if, you know, you don't think all of it's going to sell, you need to have at least, depending on what you're selling, I'd say at least 3 to 5 of one item. Okay? So, like I said, that was one of my issues. My inventory was low and the demand was high. Buying things, I believe, at wholesale prices are the best way, to go. No matter what you're selling, wholesale is always the best way to go when you're selling something. A lot of questions are also, another question that I always get is, do you need a seller's ID or, a tax ID to buy wholesale? No, you don't. There's, I swear to you, thousands of wholesale websites online that you can go to buy products wholesale. Now, of course, depending on what you're buying, there are some sites that do require you to have a seller's ID, but you don't really need it. Most of the products, I'm talking about anything from beauty products to clothes to jewelry, you can buy wholesale without a seller's ID or tax ID. So no, you do not. It's not a requirement. Like, I know some places in the city where I live, you can't even walk in without having a seller's ID. But most of the stuff that they have in there, I can get online, so it's not really a big deal. Even though I do have one, I'm just saying when I didn't. Okay, so that was another question. Like I said, do your research, because a lot of people, jump into businesses and they don't do their research. You have to do your own research. Even if you ask people questions and, people tell you to do this, A, B, C, and D, make sure you do your own homework. If you don't do your own homework, you're going to be setting yourself up for failure before you even get started. Learn, how to become familiar with whatever product you're selling, suppliers, websites, watch as many videos as you can. Do your homework, but that's where mapping out your plan will also come into play. Also what I wanted to say was, a lot of times, and people don't know this, wholesale places, companies, even online stores, they will send you samples of what they provide wholesale. Obviously, wholesale means that you're buying a product in a large quantity. So if you want a sample of something, let's say a shirt, you want to be selling a certain type of shirt and you can get it at a wholesale price, you can request that wholesaler send you a sample of that shirt, 1 instead of 30, so that you can see the quality, the coloring, things like that. Same thing with jewelry. Wholesale places sell them in bulk, but you can always request a sample. And 9 times out of 10, I found in my experiences, wholesalers do not have a problem with sending you samples of their products, especially if you are a potential customer. So don't be, scared or shy to ask. Can you please send me a sample of A, B, C, and D? I'm going to be a potential store owner, and I just want to see, the quality of your products. And like I said, 9 times out of 10, they will not have a problem with sending you samples. So don't be afraid to ask questions. All right. Make sure that what you will be selling, that there is a market for it. A lot of times, guys, I think that people go into business, again, without doing research, just trying to make a quick buck or thinking that they're going to get rich quick. It never really works like that. You really, really need to do homework. You really need to do your research. You really need to see if what you're going to be selling, if there's a market for it. Go on other websites. Go on like eBay. Go on Amazon. All these popular websites, and see if what you're thinking about selling is in demand, if people want it. Blogs especially have tons and tons of information. Look at pictures, whatever's trending. These are good ways to do research to find out if what you're going to be selling will sell. Also, once you decide to get a supplier, know your supplier. Like I said, one way of doing that is request samples. You want to know what they're selling you and what you're going to be selling to your customers. So, again, do your research. Look for reviews, because they do have some wholesale companies that I've actually seen that people have done reviews on them on YouTube. So it's a good way to, find out what that company represents, what their shipping's like, what their products are like. Even, again, reading blogs, going on the internet. The internet is a great tool. Use it. Another thing that I always tell people is speak to other people. Word of mouth is one of the best ways that people spread information and knowledge as well as receive it. You know, getting tips and tricks from other people is one of the best ways you find out stuff about pretty much everything. Look at YouTube, the community, everybody spreading their own, you know, tidbits of information and knowledge about various things. It's just a wonderful way to reach a lot of people. So definitely speak to other people, seek out the information, find out exactly what you're going to be ordering. Okay, once you got all of that out the way, now you have to start thinking of a domain name. So the domain name pretty much is what's going to be the name of your website. It may sound easy, y'all, but this can become very time consuming and also very annoying, and I'm going to tell you why. You may have thought of that perfect name for your website. You know, if you've been planning to start a business and you've been brainstorming or whatever, you definitely may have been thinking of some names that you want to call your website. So guess what? So have millions of other people. They probably have been thinking of the same thing, especially if it's something that's like really common or a name that's really popular. Trust and believe there are millions of other people who are, you know, probably thinking the same thing. And their website may not be, you know, exactly what you're selling, but the name may be taken. So that's one thing to consider when you are thinking about starting your website. The name is very important. A lot of websites that you go to, like a lot of hosts that may host your website, when you put in a name that you want, they'll tell you if it's available or not. And if it's not, they'll give you like a suggestion of names. Don't ever pick the suggested names. One reason why I say don't pick the suggested names is because usually they're really long, or they have like dashes or commas in them, or something that, you know, probably is not going to be the best thing for your website. So I would say, just from my own personal experience, don't use one of those suggested names that like a host may say, oh, well, that name's not available, but try this name. So try to skip that. I think your domain name should be short, but it also should be easy to remember. Like I said, it should never contain like hyphens, commas, dashes. Avoid doing that at all costs. Think about it. Who really wants to go to a website where you have to type a super long name and put extra doodads in it? Nobody wants to do that. People want something sweet and easy that they can remember, type in 1, 2, 3, and not worry about it. Also, avoid fancy spell words. Like 9 times out of 10, nobody is going to be, you know, trying to look up a word that they can't pronounce or that's not easy to spell. I mean, Google kind of has eliminated even knowing how to spell, because you can type in anything, and if it's close enough to what you're looking for, it pops up. But just avoid that. Do something short, sweet, easy to spell, easy to remember. I think another key element in having an easy to find site that will get more hits, always try to get a site that has .com instead of, you know, .net or .org, all these other, you know, sites. Not to say that those are bad, but what people don't realize is that all browsers are, their default is .com. So to get more hits and make it easier for the search engine, your website should be something .com. Now, a lot of times, because .com is so popular, what your website, depending on what your website may be, it may not be available. But I would suggest thinking of another name that you can use with .com. Like I said, if you want people to find your site, make sure everything you want is in the name. You know, some people, like, let's say you want to start a shoe company. Try to put shoes in the name of your website. You know, not necessarily have to do that, but it would, you know, make it much easier for people to find you. Or keywords that describe your website, like my website, C Style Designs. C Style is for Crystal Designs. It's really easy, short, and it's .com. Okay, like I said, it's because what people will be searching for. So you have to make it easier for the public to find what you're selling. Next up is picking a host for your site. A well-known host with good ratings. The best your money can buy. Buying cheaply, I would say, when you're looking for a website, may not always be the best, because in the long run it's going to be you that suffers, because you need a host that's going to have good customer service, that you can call 24/7 if there's a problem with your website, that if there's a bug or something affecting your website, that they can easily fix it. So a lot of times people may say, well, I'm not paying $69.99 a month for a host, and they have a problem and there's no customer service. If you're paying let's say $19.99 a month for a website, you have nobody to talk to if you have a problem. So what are you going to do? And if you're not savvy with figuring out how to fix a website, what's your next option? Who are you going to call? So you definitely have to think about these things before going in, to building a website or selecting a host. This is actually one of the most important things, I believe. Some of you may be like, well, what's a host? Okay, a host will be the brains and the backbone of your site. So its services and options play a big role in your business. So you would probably have to pay a monthly fee. And please know, and trust me, I'm talking from experience, you will get what you pay for. So if you pay and you want to take the cheap way out, and you pay for something that you're trying to save money in the beginning, you're going to end up spending money in the long run. So if you have the money to spend on getting a better host, I would suggest that you do that. Think long and hard about this, because when you decide to pick your web host, this is where you're going to install all your pictures or your files or the information that would pertain to your particular website. And if you decide later on, after you pick this host, that you no longer want it, think about how hard it's going to be to have to delete and change all of your information, all of your pictures to a different host. It's not going to be a really easy task. So before you decide on what host you want to go with, really do your research and know that that's the host that you want to go with. Okay. I am going to be linking in the description bar the top 5 best sites to host a store. So check the description bar for that. All right, next, once you have chosen a host, now you can start thinking of designs for your site. This is the fun part. Really quickly, I want to talk about branding, logos, themes, colors, and being original and different. If you're starting a website where you're just going to be selling manufactured products and it's not really a big deal on having an actual logo or actual theme to your site, then it's really no big deal. But if you are starting a website where it's all about your company, you want this, to be your baby, you want people to know your name in their household, it's something that you want to really put your stamp on, you really should think of some type of logo for your site. It could be a picture, it could be a drawing, it could be a graphic, whatever it is. Make sure that it's yours. Don't go to Google and Google an image and then steal somebody else's image and use it on your website. I mean, even though 9 times out of 10 you won't get sued for it, it's just so many, millions of people on the internet, they probably will never find out that you stole their image. But you don't want to risk it, and why would you want to steal somebody else's images anyway? So either, number one, if you can draw, or if you're a graphic artist or something like that, then you should design your own logo, whatever it's going to be. Now, this is only if you're going to, be branding your site. If not, like I said, it's not really a big deal. You can just kind of pick colors that you like and not really worry about the whole logo thing. But if you are, if you're not, talented enough to do that, or that's not your thing, then there's tons and tons and tons of graphic designers out here on the internet. I actually found a great graphic designer on Etsy.com. It's just so many people that you could actually hire for nothing really expensive, especially for like a logo. They don't really charge that much money. And get your logo, get your graphics going on and make your site your own. Also, as far as, like I was saying, themes and colors. Make sure you pick something that you like that's going to be attractive to the rest of the world or the market that you're trying to have buy whatever you're selling on your website. So these are all things to think about, but I think this is like the fun part of it, because you get to be really creative and you are creating something that is yours. One more tip having to do with that. When you decide, what your logo is going to be and your color scheme and all this kind of thing, when you have your shipping supplies, make sure that all your shipping supplies, if it's going to be boxes, bags, whatever it's going to be, make sure your company logo is on there. This is all part of advertising. It's just going to help your company in the long run. Get your business cards printed up before you even decide to ship out anything, which is a mistake I did too a long time ago. So, and like I always say, be original, be different. Next up, your site should look professional and not homemade. Who really wants to go to somebody's site that looks like their 6-year-old created it? Would you feel comfortable putting your credit card information into a site that, look like somebody just woke up and put some codes in and took no time to create it? Of course not. If you're going to be doing something, you should do it right. So make sure that your site does look professional and not homemade. If you're not familiar with designing a website, it is definitely best to seek a web design company. Be prepared to pay for the quality that you want. Like I said, there's thousands and thousands of people that do this for a living, and there's some people that will charge you a little bit of money, but maybe you're not going to be getting the best quality of work. And I'm not saying just because something costs more money that it's better, but just in my experience, you pay for what you get. So make sure you do your research if you're looking for somebody to design your website. What else? If you are going to hire somebody else to do your website, please make sure that before you seek this person out, you have a list of questions that you may have. Make sure you have all the ideas that you want in your head for your website jotted down, because this person is the person that's going to be bringing your vision to life. So you should be prepared to say, I want A, B, C, and D. And, when they ask you a question, you're not like, I don't know. Again, this goes back to the beginning of what I said. You should brainstorm before you even think about jumping into anything having to do with a website. So be prepared with all this information so you're ready to rock and roll. Okay, some hosts, I will say, have built-in pre-prepared layouts and designs already prepared for you that you can play with and change colors and things like that. So if you're not really good, like I said, at building a website, you're not familiar with HTML codes, you don't want to hire a professional person to design a website for you, you definitely can go to a host that has all this stuff prepared already for you, and all you have to do is probably insert pictures and information, and that may be the easier way to go. Please note that these websites usually cost a little bit more money because they have done all the work for you and you really don't have to do anything, so you're going to be paying for that luxury. And the second thing that I would say is, it's not bad, but it's a downfall, is that the layouts are limited, so you have something that you're going to have to pick from 20 designs. What if you don't like any of those designs? You're out of luck. If you want your website to be customized 100% by you, exactly how you want it, then obviously you're going to have to pay somebody to do it, or you're going to have to do it on your own. If you don't have that luxury and you don't want to be bothered with that, then like I said, you definitely can go to a host that has all these designs already prepared for you. You would just have to pick something from what they have that best suits what you're looking for. Alright, what else? Okay, my personal suggestion is to go with the host that has the majority, if not everything, you will need. For example, they will host your site. They have prepared web and layout designs all ready to go for you. Their site is easy enough and compatible to have your own web designer create for you if you were not happy with the designs that they had. So you have to make sure that if you pick a site that has everything else except you don't like their pre-prepared layouts, that their site is compatible enough so that you can have somebody prepare it exactly how you want it. They should already have a built-in e-commerce software system. The software will help run your store. Example, it has product displays. It keeps track of your inventory. It keeps track of checkout. It keeps track of invoices. And it has a built-in shopping cart feature. This is a website that I think is excellent. This is actually how my website is. And as I said, I do pay a little bit more money for this luxury, but it's just easier for me, and I find it to be very user-friendly. You know, you don't have to be a genius to pretty much figure out how to work the website. So you're going to spend your money for what you want. If you don't, you know, you rather go the cheaper route and kind of figure out everything else on your own. If you have that time and that luxury and you, like I said, you want to save that little bit of money, then that's definitely your choice. As I said in the beginning, it all depends on what you want to do and the time that you have and how far you want to go with this. Okay, so like I said, having a host that provides all these essential elements for your site makes life a lot easier, in my opinion, rather than having to search for each essential separately and then trying to figure out if it works with the host. So that can definitely be a headache as well. That's just my recommendation. Also, you have to think about credit card merchant accounts. Now, what this is it will allow your website to accept credit cards online. You need a merchant account, what it is a bank account or financial institution that allows you to accept shoppers' credit card numbers. Here's the thing with merchant accounts. Setting up a merchant account can get very, very pricey. Banks typically do charge you a setup fee, and you also have to pay a monthly fee, and you also have to pay a percentage for each transaction depending on how much the transaction you make. You know, how much money you've made with that transaction, you have to pay a percentage of what you make to them. So think about that. That definitely can become very, very pricey. Even if you have, let's say, 20 customers regularly, you're going to have to pay a monthly fee for those 20 customers. You have to pay a percentage of whatever they buy. You have to pay a percentage to the bank. It can become very, very expensive. So if you're not prepared to pay those fees, then maybe you should think of some other options. And as I will say, the best option, I believe, is actually PayPal. And I would suggest anybody who's first starting off, you know, with the online company to go with PayPal. PayPal is still progressively growing as a company, so they want to gain as many clients as they can. And how they're doing that is they offer a no setup fee method of accepting credit cards. So you really can't, you know, be too angry at that. And PayPal is actually easily integrated with most websites, and you can use PayPal actually worldwide. So it's the easiest way and the most value, I believe, for your money when you're starting an online company and you don't want to pay, you know, thousands of dollars in fees and you're not even making any money yet. So I would definitely suggest to go with PayPal. So make sure that the host that's hosting your website is compatible with PayPal. So that's about it. These are the basics, I believe, to starting an online store. Honestly, this is the way to go. As far as I believe business is concerned, times have changed. Pretty much everything is done online over the internet. So it's beneficial to have an online store. Think about it this way. You can do a million things and your store is going to work for you. You don't really have to do anything once you have it set up, you know, products loaded. You don't have to do anything. You could have another job like I do, a regular 9-to-5, and my website is working for me while I'm working at another job. And like I said, this is where you have to think about when you're starting your website, all the benefits of paying a little bit of extra money to actually get exactly what you want. So when you're doing something else, you don't have to worry about your website crashing. You don't have to worry about anything, you know, going wrong with your website. That's why you pay for a good host that you know everything's gonna be fine. And that's pretty much it. So like I said, of course there are other little things you'll probably run into here and there, but this video I hope should help you, you know, get your store started. It's just basic tips that when I started mine I couldn't find. You know, I had to kind of learn the hard way, trial and error. Like I definitely spent a lot of money looking for a great host for my company. I did try to go the cheap route in the beginning and I was dissatisfied. I didn't like the way the website looked. If you don't really care how your website looks, then, you know, hey, definitely go the cheaper route until you can, you know, get some more money to pay for what you want. But I'm satisfied. My whole website is hosted by BigCommerce and I am 100% satisfied with everything except their damn prices. But you know, my website looks professional. I've never had any glitches. It runs perfectly. They, you know, their fees are a little pricey, but like I said, you know, you pay for what you want and I love it. So I would recommend anyone who's doing like jewelry or maybe clothes or something to that effect, BigCommerce. It's, like I said, a little pricey depending on, you know, pictures and things like that. Like if you have high quality pictures, it's more bandwidth and they charge you every month. They do take a percentage and all that kind of stuff, but I believe it's worth it to me. So you pay for what you want. You pay for what you want you know, them to do for you, and their customer service is excellent. Like I said, I've never had any real problems, and when I did have a slight problem, something I was confused about, they walked me through it step by step. So hope this video helps. If you have any other questions, please feel free to leave them down below. You can inbox me, or if anybody else has suggestions for those out there who want to start an online company and, you know, they don't really know where to get started, and you have some suggestions, you can definitely do a video response to this video. And that is all. So Paris, I hope this helped you, and if you have any more other questions, you know, you definitely can hit me up, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.